Alrighty, here we are. Yes, another day, and as you can see on the screen there, we finished up some printing. Yes. How many of you, whether you're young or old, went around playing, found a stick, and you said, "This stick is an awesome sword," and or playing some sort of game when you're a kid, lightsabers, the whole nine yards, whatever it is. Yeah, there's something about that. And 3D printing has ended up being able to reach into the depths of people to where they can now do that stuff. You know, before you find a cool stick and you have a sword and you pretend it's a sword, but now we have 3D printing and we can come up with some pretty cool looking swords. So yeah, what we ended up doing is we just finished up printing the Crimson Shadow Sword by Sarwtin on Makerworld, and we're going to take a look at that. Yeah, just this is a pretty cool looking build. I wanted to do something, and I've got squirrel moments where I'm doing this and that, and yeah, I decided, yeah, let's buckle down and let's print something out on the K2 Plus, which seems to be working good. I've got over 1,000 hours on the Creality K2 Plus, and yeah, I've had a few problems with it. It's just like you would with any printer. The biggest problems I had were the stock nozzles. The stock nozzles ended up having problems, and I was getting clogs, and I went through like 3 nozzles, and I'm like, seriously, really? You know, trying to clear the nozzles, the whole 9 yards. There's just something about that batch of nozzles that I had that was just causing clogs or experiencing clogs. And then somebody recommended Micro Swiss, and so I got a Micro Swiss hot end, and I think it was like $89, $84, $85, I think it was. And threw that thing on there with the CMT nozzle, and I haven't had a clog since, and that's been about 400 hours, so I'm happy. The Micro Swiss hot end, and I haven't even dialed in. I haven't done a temperature tower, I haven't done flow rate, I haven't done anything. It just swapped out the stock, put the Micro Swiss in there, and yeah, I'm loving it. I'm getting some good results. So yeah, what's not to like? The other thing I ended up doing, just because I wanted to, not because I had to, was changing out the bed on the Creality K2 Plus. It ends up that the leveling on my K2 Plus was what was it? It was like 0.96, 0.9696 as far as leveling, which, you know, I mean, that's okay. And you've got the input shaping and the leveling of the bed and all that stuff. And so it compensates for that. So I was getting some decent prints. But I got the Ramen graphite bed, did a quick switch out, didn't have to adjust anything else, redid the entire calibration and input, all that stuff. And I got it down to where, you know, after leveling it, I got it down to 0.28 something. So big improvement with the graphite bed. And I have noticed that the bed heats up faster. And going back to the Micro Swiss hot end, it definitely heats up faster than the stock hot end that Creality has with the K2 Plus. So yeah, it was some good upgrades, and I'm pleased with the K2 Plus so far. CFS, I had some more recent problems and some snags and things like that. So I'm just printing off the side spool holder and running with just Polymaker matte PLA to do these prints, and we can see kind of a little bit of those right there. That's the part of the sword that we ended up doing. It's all the parts and pieces there, and we'll get to that in a little bit. I'm going to take a swig of my coconut vanilla latte that I made this morning, so that'll give you a chance to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, which would be much appreciated. So anyway, let's go ahead and we'll jump in and we'll take a look at the sword and how it turned out. So here it is in Creality print. And if we take a look at some of this stuff here, we can see that like there it is. Come on, there we go. So there's the pommel and everything. And I used the split version of the handle. Excuse me. a split version of the handle. They also have a regular handle that you could print in an upright fashion. But when it's split in this configuration, you're going to get a lot more strength. So keep that in mind if you're doing cosplay. And there's some of the other pieces and parts of that thing. And this is the one that just finished out printing here today. Actually, it was last night, about 3 o'clock in the morning. And then there's some parts and pieces. If we can get this thing to there. Just little decorative pieces, and you can see how I printed those out. And then there's the big part of the sword. Not too bad. And I just added this. I'm going to be printing this after this video because it's not the sword itself. It's actually a wall hanger that you could put the sword on. So we're going to print that out a little bit later. But this whole thing, as far as if we did everything, and if we take a look at this, I really wish they'd make these bigger. I know what we can do. We can go back here and we can take a look, and we'll just do a little picture. And I'll show you the total time for how long this took me to get. And so there's the numbers right there. And with that being said, what I ended up doing is using a layer height of 0.2. I ended up doing 4 wall loops, so this is going to be a pretty beefy sword. And let's see what else. We did a sparse infill of 5% with adaptive cubic, and we did tree support default on build plate only, and then we did a brim on the outer brim only. So yeah, it works out pretty good. So a total time of 438.1 meters of filament, which is 1,287, almost 88 grams, and a total time of 2 days, 11 hours and 43 minutes, for a total cost of like $25 at the price that I get filament. So your mileage may vary. With me, it's a little bit different because I'm retired here in Korea. So when I get filament, sometimes things are a little bit more expensive than what they are in the United States. So for example, my K2 Plus, I had to pay a value-added tax, import tax, stuff like that. So usually it's about $100, $200, maybe more, depending on what I purchase and the price level. Usually if it's $150 or less, I can order stuff from Amazon. I don't have any VAT tax. But with something big like this, of course, the K2 Plus can't be delivered to Korea through Amazon. So I had to order it through a local vendor, and they're going to put their little bit of markup on it. So that's why things are just a tad bit more expensive here. But I will say that the delivery of the K2 Plus was way better than what we ended up seeing in the United States for delivery and handling. And I think that's why a lot of people ended up having problems, was you've got the K2 Plus, it weighed like over 100 pounds, and the box is huge. And I mean, you're talking about, I think it was 110 pounds when I weighed myself, and then I picked up the box and weighed it, is 110 pounds. So yeah, I worked at FedEx, the big brown trucks and the whole 9 yards, and I worked in their warehouse, and I saw how people ended up handling large and heavy boxes. Ooh, no wonder a lot of people's K2 Pluses were damaged, or similar printers that are really big and bulky and heavy. How come those are dead on arrival, or they have damage? I can tell you honestly, 100% without any reservation, that the packaging on the K2 Plus is superior to anything that I've seen. And I've worked in industrial settings. I've worked in furniture stores. I've worked in tag plants. I've worked in fiberglass centers, workshops and things like that. So I've seen a lot of stuff in how they package up products. It's just, the K2 Plus is packaged awesomely. The problem is when it's 110 pounds and you have somebody that's going to push it off of a truck, and onto the ground, no wonder you're going to get some damage on the feet. Somebody rolls it off a platform onto the truck, of course you're going to get some damage. So I think that's the biggest thing that I've seen. of the United States compared to Korea and living in Korea is that the delivery people in Korea are way more careful. So their job depends on it, unfortunately. Well, fortunately for me. And so they take great care in delivering things, because if they get bad reviews, they're almost like subcontractors. They're independent contractors that will get delivery routes. And so they get their own truck, they get the stuff, they deliver it. And if they get bad reviews, they can lose their job. So they have a vested interest to deliver things without damage. Whereas in the United States, we've seen what happens. We've seen the videos on YouTube and social media of, UPS or FedEx or, whatever it is, DHL, how they handle packages. And it's just deplorable. So, and it doesn't matter if you complain. I mean, it's really hard to get somebody fired from a delivery job in the United States. So just face it, that's what it is. But here in Korea, it's the exact opposite. So when I got my K2 Plus, the box looked like it came right out of the factory. I mean, yeah, there's obviously some marks on it and stuff like that, but it was the best condition box for something that large and that heavy that I have ever got in my entire life. Okay, so anyway, rant is over. So we're going to take a look at this Crimson Sword, because I know there's going to be some people that are going to want to take a look at this. If you go to Makerworld, I know it's not Creality Cloud. Even though I like my K2 Plus, their Creality Cloud models are lacking compared to Makerworld here. So on Makerworld, we have the Crimson Shadows Sword of the Dark Knight MW Heroes by Sarwtin. Sarwtin? So yeah, just go ahead and follow that guy there, and he's got some good stuff. So this was printed out. Obviously, these people printed it out in 2 different colors, but you take a look at that sword, and I'm going to do some painting on this. So while I did mine in matte black, I think what I'm going to end up doing is all of it is black for the most part, except for the pommel is in white. You can see that is a pretty impressive looking, that's a pretty impressive looking sword there. So yeah, that's going to be really good. And I think by the time I get done with it, I'll do some red, kind of the same thing here, black with the red, and I'll do some inlays. So when you got like these little creases in here, I'll add some red in there just to give it some more definition. And so got some more details. And so I'll be doing some more painting than what you end up seeing on here, where it's just printed out with the PLA. Or PETG or whatever. And there they've got the PLA metal and then the PLA silk. That's usually what they end up using. And it's pretty impressive. And there's the wall hanger. So yeah, that's gonna be pretty good. Again, banana for scale. This is gonna be in the full size, and yeah, it is definitely gonna rock. And they got a little assembly guide that they have. Let's see, is that it? No, that's not it. Let me see. Oh, here's the assembly guide. So let's take this so we can get this into frame and you can see what I'm talking about. So also included is this assembly guide, which I really appreciate because it shows you all the parts that you have with this. So they have the handle, which is a unibody, or the split handle, which is optimal because of the way it's printed. Split in half, it's going to be a lot stronger. So yeah, and then you can see all the pieces here. So I really like that. I appreciate that. And then it goes through this how to assemble for dummies thing, and yeah, it looks really, really good. So this is going to slide into that. You got the little thing there, you got those things, and the big thing that you just put together slides onto the small thing of the handle, and then more small things towards the end. And yeah, you're just going to put the top on if you have the split handle. And then, you know, you've got these little white pieces in here that'll connect everything together. And it's going to be a pretty good looking thing. It's going to be my first sword. So I'm popping my cherry on the Crimson Sword. So now what we're going to end up doing is we're going to say hello to George, because George is in the house. Howdy. And then we're going to jump over to the desk there, and we'll show you. I need to get some. Do I have enough? Oh, I do. I've got Gorilla Super Glue. So I think we can actually put this thing together. But I'm debating, should I put it together now and glue it and then have to go through and paint it, tape it off, or should I just leave it separate, paint the individual items the color I want, that way I don't have to tape it, and then clear coat it so it's nice and shiny and everything, and then I can put it together. Yeah, I think I'll do that, because otherwise what's going to end up happening is, like we see with the sword here, all these red pieces, and of course as we saw, part of the pommel, the handle there was red as well. I'm definitely going to have to tape that off. But all these red pieces, if I'm going to paint this red, that means if I put this together, I'm going to have to tape all the black off, and that's going to be like a pain, I think. So I think what I'll end up doing is we'll just do a test fit today to see what it looks like. And so what we'll end up doing, let's just go ahead and we'll go over to the paint station. And since I have the wireless mic, I don't have to worry about moving the Mr. Microphone like we used to. And we will turn on our tablet so we can read some of the comments. I need to get a bigger one. Let's see. Oh, there it is. So there I am. And test fit first, then decide. Yep, that's definitely good advice. So like I said, this finished up printing about 3 o'clock this morning. No, it wasn't 3 o'clock. It was last night, just before I went to bed. That's right. It had the wrong time estimate. I thought it was going to be done at 3 in the morning, but it ended up just before I went to bed, about 11-ish. So, and there we've got that. Well, let's go ahead and set that aside, and we can just start taking some of this apart. And I need to get a trash can over here is what it comes down to. And we can see some of it's got a little bit of stringing on there. That's kind of a first, but it did get a little bit cooler. And there might be some humidity going on. So, but yeah, it turned out really, really nice. I like the quality of this. And I set my top Z distance at 0.24, and I added some supports. I painted on some supports just because it made me a little nervous. But yeah, that turns out that is really sturdy. Really sturdy. So and the supports come off really, really nice. Of course, as soon as I say that, the last support has a problem coming off. Go figure. Go figure. There we go. But man, that turned out nice. Got a little bit of a brim there. And I always put some glue. I use glue stick on this to make sure that I can get everything on there, and that I don't have any problems. The majority of the time, probably about 90% of the time, I wouldn't have any problems with adhesion. But just in case, I just go ahead and throw some, I mean, that's a pretty darn good looking. You can see that? How's that look? That's some good detail on there. It's not too bad as far as the bottom there, but nice. It turned out nice. I like that. So we have other parts and pieces. So that goes in like so. And then this goes into here and slides like that. Oh, nice. Look at that. And then, let's see if we can move some. I got so much crap on my desk. And I got stuff that needs to be painted. It's messed up because I printed this out. This is a resin print. I printed this out so long ago, and it has been waiting patiently to get painted. And it finally did the zenithal on this, and I was going to do videos on painting this, and then I was like, well, if I'm going to prime that and zenithal that, I'll do this one as well. And so I did that one too. And then I forgot about this guy. I dry brushed this guy. So I was like, hey, I can just do some painting. And then I had a squirrel moment, and I ended up seeing the sword as on Makerworld, and I was like, yeah, let's do the sword. So these guys are like seriously, really? It's like, why aren't you painting me? And then, let's see, we end up, okay, so you can see there's like a dovetail on this, and we have a dovetail on that as well. Okay, so we will slide this in like so. Nice. And then this one would go on there as well. Oh, I like how that works. So the dovetail is on this side as well. So it's a split dovetail. Oh, nice. And then we got the little pommel piece that goes there. Oh, don't you love it when everything fits together? And then we've got these pieces, so you can see that, and that's going to marry up with that right there. So that holds everything together. Like so. So nice. And then the other piece will go in there. I'm not going to put the other piece in. So that is nice. And of course, once we glue all this in, everything, but I mean, that's a really nice fit. So the precision and accuracy for this print has turned out pretty good. And then you've got your little emblem that you could put in there, a little red diamond thing or whatever. That would go in there. So we won't do that. And then, see, these are the outsides. These are for this. And these aren't. So these holes marry up, I guess. Yeah. And then these little pieces will go, does it go all the way through? I guess. Yeah, like so. And then, oh, okay. So then this will go on here, like that. Ah, okay. I got it. And then these will go in here. So we got those to capture that. And then that will fit in there. And then we'll do the same thing with this piece, good Lord, that is a long, long sword. And then we'll kind of do the same thing here. And that'll fit on there. Oh, we forgot the other piece. I want to make sure I don't knock over my latte. And then that piece would go on here. And yeah, after all of this gets basically, wow. Can you all see that? That is a long, long sword. And of course it'll be, got a little bit of wiggle to it. But once we get everything glued in, my question is, how long is this? Let me get the tape measure, and we will measure this baby out. Matter of fact, let's take this back to the desk so we can take a look and we can see how long this baby is. So here it is. This is it. That is kind of long. Check that out. So you can see some of the details on there. That is going to come out nice. And then of course we'll fill in some of the gaps on this. Kind of like definitely in this area here, we'll fill in some gaps and get that all smoothed out. But man, that is going to be nice. Now the question is, how long is this? And it ends up being 50 inches, or about 127 centimeters. So 50 inches long is where this baby is at. And again, man, let's put on the house lights real quick so you can kind of see this. That is a good sized sword right there. Nice. I'm 6'2" for reference. So yeah, that is cool. I like that. Nice, 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 nice. This is going to be an awesome build. So yeah. So I can sit here with my sword and I can be like, "Rrr." That is awesome. So anyway, yeah, that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. Dun, 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 looks good. George says, speaking of resin, did you see the Anycubic Photo P1? No, I haven't. I haven't yet. I haven't taken a look at that. There was some stay. No, but didn't want to stay. Put this over here. No, I didn't see that at all. I know that's coming out or had come out. I haven't taken a look at that. I've still got my Saturn III Ultra, which I haven't really done much with because I've been doing the 3D printing thing. So there's that. Let's see. Let me see something. Hold on a second. Ding. There we go. A little bit. Oh. No, I haven't taken a look at that. Is that, let's pull that up and take a look at it. Might as well. I mean, so Anycubic Photon P1. No, it's coming soon. Coming soon Coming soon to a theater near you. And let's go ahead and jump and take a look at that. So there it is. Industrial grade performance. $10 deposit. So they haven't released it yet. Save $90. Okay. 43% off. VIP offer starting at $450. Wow. Tempting. Let's take a look at this. Exclusive NFET film valued at $19. Let's see. Let's get this a little bit bigger. We'll take a look at some pictures. 43% off. Interesting. Platform, resin vat, manual, scrapers, protective equipment, blah, blah, blah. All that usual stuff that you get. Pay $10 now. Complete your order. Receive a refund. Receive a refund? Wait a second. Pay $10, unclock $350. Okay, pay $10 deposit to secure your reservation. Complete the order, is step 2. After the official launch, you can complete your order on the Kickstarter page at the super early bird price and select your desired rewards. Step 3, for users who placed a deposit and backed us on Kickstarter, you'll get a refund 14 days after the campaign ends. Then step 4, awaits shipment. Once the campaign concludes, we'll send you a survey to collect your address, and then your product will be sent. Why would you get a refund? Why would you send $10? Why wouldn't that $10 be applied to the price of the printer? Is it just me, or does that seem odd? Instead of sending you the money back, just take $10 off, an additional $10 off. This is the world's first prosumer dual color and material resin 3D printer. What? 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 Okay, yeah, that's probably going to be about the same. Let's see. Dual color and material. So you can do dual colors? Faster prints, more colors. What? Smart heating. Okay, heating's good. Worry-free printing. Of course, they all say that. But dual printing? Dual colors and dual material? Wow. Let's see if you can take a look at this. So there it is. It looks like a pretty small, compact machine, it seems. If you look down here on the bottom, you can see there's the USB, so that's a pretty small build plate. Not that, you know, size has anything to do with it. Big's Android, that's what she said. No, size matters. But I think this is from a previous where we were talking about the sword being big, not the printer. Yeah. So, she is paid to say that. You are like Conan with glasses. Thank you. Conan, I remember way back in the day. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Conan the Barbarian. He ended up horrible actor or acting back then. But yeah, I try to throw some muscle on there. You know, it's not bad for 59. Let's see. Skua says, have 2 plates and 1 big plate. You can use one or the other. Okay. So let's go back and take a look at this photon thing. This is what I like about doing this stuff, is you all send me some cool stuff or got recommendations and we can take a look at them. So, light turbo system 4.0. So what does this ends up doing? Okay, yeah, that's layer by layer, independent settings for each. Both materials. Alrighty, industrial grade ball screw system. Okay, wave release film. Reduces peel force by 60%. Intelligent leveling system. They all have that nowadays. Perforated steel build plate, which is good, but is the build plate... Oh, you could do 1 vat You have one build area, or you can do two. Oh, okay, I see what it is. I thought it was doing two at once. Well, I mean, it is doing two at once, but not two at once on the same model. Interesting concept. Okay, that's different. Matter of fact, it's funny that it shows dental, because the implants that I got here in Korea, I got them for dirt cheap, and they're super high quality. I mean, they're top of the line, but it ends up that my implant teeth were actually 3D printed, and I got to see them being printed. So, I mean, yeah, that's kind of cool. Let's see, 50 to 80% greater, 10% bigger build volume, $450. Okay, industrial precision, flatter surface. Ooh, precision milled steel plate flatness tolerance is less than 80 microns. Okay, so that's nice. I wish they'd do that with 3D printers. Release film. Okay, nice. Sharper light, sharper prints, blah, blah, blah. Smoother prints, layer lines, whole 9 yards, transparency resin, all kinds of different stuff that you could end up doing. 2 colors, 2 materials. I mean, that's cool. I don't think that'd be a thing for me. I think it just, what would be the build area of it? Dynamic release, yeah, light compensation, yeah, we got that, specs. Intelligent design, yeah, they're all intelligent design. Smarter, faster. Build size is build size 223 by 126 by 230. Okay, that's respectable. Not bad. Interesting little printer we got there. That, and Christmas is coming up. Hey, Rah-Rah's in here. Hey, welcome back. How did it have the teeth example? How did it have teeth example with 2 colors? So what it ended up doing was like what we end up seeing here is this on the left is you can have your single build plate, or you can go over here and you can have, it's a build plate, but it's split into 2. So you can have one side print out and then the other, of course, there are different heights and stuff. So obviously this one's not going to print until it gets to that level. So it'll print all the layers on this. And then once it gets up to here, it'll start printing that one. So you could have 2 different materials. So yeah, interesting. As far as like, it's an additional add-on option. I don't know if that would interest me. That would definitely be something that would be, excuse me, if you had a need for it, that would be something, but I don't know. Yeah, how did it have the teeth example with 2 colors? Yeah, so there you have it. That's how it did it. Rah-Rah says, I'm headed to the dentist in 20 minutes and the doc always gives me the 3D printed model when we're done. Oh, really? That's cool. Mine didn't. But I did get a cheaper price on my implants. So I got like 4 implants, and usually, like when I priced them in the United States, an implant was anywhere from $2,700 to like over $3,000 per one implant. I got 4 implants, and then I got 5 crowns and 1 cavity, and it ended up being, it was 5 million won, 5,300,000. And so that came out to, or 7 million. So it was like $4,000 or $5,000. So it was dirt cheap, but it was top of the line implants and stuff like that. But yeah, it was cool to see. They printed out the temporary teeth. They printed out the permanent ones. They did 3D scans. Dentistry has come a long way. Of course, now I've also heard that in dentistry, they have like a gel that will regrow the enamel, or regrow your teeth. So that's kind of wild. So yeah, that'd be cool. It just end up taking some, just taking some gel caps or something, or just put some gel on your teeth and it grows the enamel back. That's pretty cool. It's amazing. So yeah, the sword, that is big. That is big. And there's another measurement I wanted to get on this. Is the width of this is about the middle, talking about just over 3 inches for the distance between here and here. And for this part, you're looking at 6 1/4 between here and here. If this doesn't make you want to do cosplay, I don't know what would. And from here to here is 4 inches. And the handle ends up being 9 1/4 inches for the white. And then from tip to tip here, it ends up, if I can get it, it looks like it's 13 1/4 from tip to tip. And that's a pretty sturdy, that is pretty sturdy. Almost wish the handle was just a tad longer and a little bit thicker, because it seems like it would be a little bit thicker on something this big. But I don't know, that's hefty. And I'm glad I did this split. I'm definitely going to have to put a lot of glue on that. But the only thing different, I wish this handle was thicker and maybe an inch longer. So that way it had some beef to it. But still, this is going to look rocking good. And a little bit of, after you get this all glued together, and then getting like the seams that we have right there, sealing that up with a little bit of UV resin with some baby powder in there. That would be awesome. We can hide those up. So 1, 2, oh, that's not bad. Yeah, so just 2 seams on each side. So a total of 4, and we're good to go. Yeah, and so I think I'll end up doing is I'll take this apart and then paint the individual pieces, and I think we'll go with the black and the red. And I just need to find some spray paint, but the red, kind of a candy apple red, the deep candy apple red, I think that'll look really cool. So, and then I'll print out the hanger for this, and I can hang this on the wall. So that is cool. I like that. Definitely like it. Good to go. George says it is fascinating. I don't have a use for a printer though. I know, I don't either. This is all just hobby stuff, you know. And that was one of the things I was like, you know, well, what could I print with this? You know, there's a couple things, some functional prints that I ended up doing, like the paintbrush holders, or, you know, the paintbrush racks and stuff, which, oh, in case some of you don't know, let me bring that up. Excuse me. And we'll take a look and I'll show you. If you go to Creality Cloud, and I'll throw the link up here as I can get this going. Let's bring this back up. Where are we? Here we are. Okay. So here we are in the Creality Cloud, and if I can end up resizing this a little bit. So Creality Cloud, they got some good models, not as much as Makerworld, but then, you know, it is what it is. But they got some good stuff on here. But with my page that you end up seeing right there, and we'll throw the link on there in the comments section. So with this, this shows all the things that I've made with Tinkercad, which is, I'm not a CAD person. But airbrush stand that uses 3M tape down there. I've got a self-standing one, paintbrush holder. I did a smaller paintbrush holder, build plate holder, which I would probably redo. Spool drawer for chirality spools, and let's see what else I ended up making. Stanley dual melt glue gun holder, I did that. Hex miniature shelf, I made one of those. A frame wall mount rack for paints, there did another one there. And then I did a 3D printed cell phone, teleprompter. And I've got a bigger one that I ended up doing too. Some other little stuff. So cosplay, helmet screen stuff, acrylic paint knife, and then the rotating paint rack and stuff like that. I ended up making that, which I use on the desk, which you can actually see if we take a look back on the paint station, or on that upper right, you can see that and how that works out. And that was actually a pretty good, that was a pretty good build. I've got it on a Lazy Susan, but you can end up seeing how it rotates pretty good. And I'm thinking about redoing this, but I mean, for the most part, it's pretty nice, and it worked out really well. So yeah, I was really happy with that. But all of those models are free, which is cool. So with that, if you want to check out those things there, everything is for free on my page there. Excuse me. So whatever stuff that's there, it's all free, and you can download. All of this stuff was made on Tinkercad. So, you know, take that with a grain of salt, because Tinkercad is not like a high-speed, low-drag CAD program. But yeah, all this stuff's free, and if you want to remix stuff on there, hey, go ahead and run with it. Have some fun with it. So that's what we ended up doing. So other than that, we had some fun. I think what we'll end up doing is we'll try to pick up some paint today, some spray paint, and I'm wondering, I don't know, this is almost pretty good the way it is, as far as like, you can see that. I mean, the black's pretty good. I could probably just put some gloss varnish on there for the areas that would be black, and then like on this area that would be red, I just have to get like a candy apple red, like a deep rich candy apple spray paint, high gloss, and boom, it'd be good to go. So not much work to be done. So I think I'll head off to the military base. The local military base is Camp Humphreys, which is the largest overseas military base in the world for the United States. And since I'm a retiree, I have access to that and go to the PX, and they've got some paint, some spray paint, but I don't know if they would have like a deep, rich candy apple, that red that we saw on there. I don't know, because that would be, I mean, you got to admit, that is a pretty awesome looking red there. And again, it looks like they didn't even do anything with that. So maybe I would just leave the black with the matte black and just do maybe even a clear, just a matte varnish on there to lock everything in there. And then for the red, man, that red is pretty impressive. The silk PLA, that's why. So I'd have to find like a candy apple red that would really, really pop. That would be, that'd be hard to find. And there were some other people that did prints on this where it ends up that they ended up printing it in like a blue. And he's done some other work, which looks pretty wild. So there was somebody that ended up doing it in blue. And we've got Maker Viking. Yes, Maker Viking. Love Viking. Yes, welcome to the show. Yeah, hey, we're doing some good stuff. Maker Viking. I like that. I've got a little bit of German ancestry myself, and we just printed out this Crimson Sword, finished this up, and do a little dry fit to make sure everything fits together. But then we're going to take some time, and we'll paint the red pieces on that in red, hopefully. And then I think we'll end up doing is just a varnish, clear varnish, matte varnish on that, and we should be good to go. So yeah, this is kind of cool. If you told me, I don't know, 5, 10 years ago that I would be retired in Korea making a cosplay sword on a 3D printer, I would be like, no, that's for like kid stuff. I don't know, I'm digging it. Painting miniatures, doing models. I mean, you got to do something else besides going to the gym. So, but this goes along with like the other stuff that I printed out. My first dip in, I did some Ripper masks. I guess I can show that stuff. Now it's kind of like show and tell. I miss so much. Yeah. Maker Viking says, looks good. Thank you. Vikings got to stick together. We did, let me show you some of the masks that I ended up doing. And so we got one Ripper mask here, and this came off of Makerworld. And so we ended up painting this, and it came out really nice. And I did some of that screening that I was telling you about on my page, Creality Cloud page. I printed that out, and so you get that look there. And so this turned out really, really good. So we've got this. There's that one. Oh, and I also have a blue one. This is, the yellow one was my wife's, and this is mine. And what I ended up doing is just a little bit of a like screen protection window covering. And so I did this one in blue, a little bit of cell shading on there. And so that turned out really good. So we got the yellow one for the wife, the blue for me, and then this one was from Galactic Armory. And I did this one because I'm a Patreon of Galactic Armory. And look at that. That turned out really good. Yes. This turned out great. And again, kind of did the same thing with the screen on there. And this thing fit perfect. So, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, fun stuff. And so this whole thing of being retired, I needed something to do. And so I started with painting miniatures, started with some Warhammer figures that were obscenely overpriced for those little tiny figures. And then I got into resin printing because I'm cheap and I didn't want to pay the crazy prices that Games Workshop wanted. So did that, and then started learning how to paint. And then that kind of led into 3D printing. And here's I ended up making a pistol for the wife. Kind of rotating that there. So that turned out pretty good. Not bad. I added a few pieces on here because it seemed kind of empty on this part. So we threw some rails on there. So yeah, we did that. And then on top of that, we also did this here, which is the Borderlands rifle. And if you can see that, well, I should probably put it like this so you can see it a little bit better. Borderlands rifle came out really nice. And again, we did some cell shading. And you can see that turned out fantastic. Turned out really, really good. So, and I'm still working on the costume for this. And I've got the magazine. I need to paint the magazine because it's a bullpup design. That's patiently waiting. So, yeah, that turned out really good. So, and the length of it is pretty good as well. So it's a good size. And I got this off of Printables. So if you want to get that, that is on Printables. And seriously, there we go. Trying to put everything back. But that was off of the Printables page. Printables, which was it? Borderlands Ripper. Dun 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 dun. We'll take a look. Oh no, it says Atlas. Is that Facebook? Post a link. Yeah, I'd like to join. Share some stuff. Did Skua says the pistols from Galactic. No, I think that was also Printables, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, some awesomeness indeed. And Ferrithus pops up and says hello. Saying a quick hello before he goes to the gym. Good man, hitting the gym. But for those that are wondering, the Borderlands Ripper mask and stuff like that, you can get that off of Printables here. And that has the rifle that I printed out and then the Ripper mask, and it's all for free. So you can't beat free. They've got another rifle there. And if you take a look at all the models, the Ripper mask is good, the rifle's good. That Borderlands Boar SG rifle, I was going to do that, but I was like, I like the other rifle. But yeah, I was really surprised on this one because, I mean, yeah, it looks really good, but when you look at the pictures prior to doing mine, no, people printed it out, but they didn't paint it. And so mine is the first one there where it ends up actually being painted. So I was really surprised that nobody or people that printed it out didn't, paint them. I didn't understand why. And it's just such a cool looking rifle. So I don't know. But anyway, that's where you can find that. So you can check that link there. The pistol, Borderlands pistol, I think I got this. There it was. That was it right there. Borderlands unkept Herald pistol. And there's a little bit of difference. What I ended up doing is you can see the top rail here. The top rail, printed out another one and I just put one on each side. And of course I did the paint job with that. So that was kind of a cool print. I like that. I just wanted to make it mine, customize it and make it a little bit different, but that's where that turned up at. So let me post that. And that was a free print as well. So that's in the comments. So yeah, by DSK001. What is the other stuff he has? He's got 135 models. Holy crow! Okay, clock, blah, other stuff. So he's got a variety of things on here. But the pistol, I just wanted something for the wife to have the pistol, and that worked out really good. The other thing I want to print out is the Borderlands axe. So that's something else I want to do. So. Ferris says, looks really nice. Yeah. Maker Viking says, that's my buddy, DSK. Really? Small world. Tell him I love it. That turned out really good. He hangs out most days on my Discord. I thought I recognized the design. Yeah, I thought it was really cool too. I went through a number of free files and it was like, hey, you know, wanted something, didn't really find it. But as soon as I saw that pop up, I was like, oh, that looks good. Just needs a little bit of help on that one side, put a rail on the side. And I love how that turned out. So yeah, it's some cool stuff that we ended up getting there. Nice. So yeah. You can put a nice sight on the Picatinny rail. Yes. Or I can 3D print one. Yeah, definitely tell him I said hi. That was really cool. But yeah, also send me that the link to wherever you hang out at, Tinker Atlas. I'd like to check that out. Let's see. Netventive pops up and says, I printed Borderlands mask as well, did not paint it, used colored markers for a quick fix. Do not recommend. Gave it away to someone who said they would paint it. Yeah, I've noticed that because when I was, I used Sharpie and some metallic Sharpie markers for this kit, and it kind of does a little bit of bleeding in there. So with the Sharpie, I had to be really careful, and some of this, it kind of bled over. So yeah, I totally get that. Okay, cool. Nice. Ferritha says, your paint jobs are really amazing. Always jealous when I see that. Thank you. It's just copy, paste. Look, it's an inordinate amount of watching YouTube videos on how to paint and then just kind of running with it and see what happens. I don't know if the link for Tinker Atlas came through, by the way. It's a name and com domain. I don't think I'm allowed to post a link here. Okay, let me pull that up. Let me see. TinkerAtlas.com. I'll see what pops up. Doom. Ferritha says, how to paint. Talato. You get there. I mean, anything that you practice, you can do good at. Some people, the people that drive me insane are the people that paint and it looks, I mean, some people are just insanely good. It's just like, I look at the stuff that they paint, I look at the stuff that I paint, and I'm like, why am I painting? It is just, sometimes it's a little bit depressing. But yeah, it's some good stuff. Tinker Atlas. Makers share what they build, show your work, blah, blah, blah. Okay, let me throw this up on here. My first time being on here. Tinker Atlas, where makers share what they build. Global community of 3D printers, tinkerers, builders. Share your projects, get feedback, find your people. Okay. Articles. App experience. I don't know about that. We'll see. Okay, we got some cool people there, I guess. I mean, if you're making stuff, you got to be cool. Map. Load the map. So you got maps? Oh, on where people are at. Oh. Let's see where I am. That's where I would be, is in South Korea. So I could be the one. I could be the Tinker Atlas community member in Korea, the only one. So he says, if you hit map, you can see the feed without logging in. Oh, okay. Dun, dun. Nice, cool. That's kind of neat. You know, being able to see all the people that are doing stuff. Of course, it gets bigger and bigger. Of course, a lot of people in the United States. What are the odds? But that's pretty cool. Interesting. I'll have to check that out. Nice. Huh. I will take a look. Oh, we have tools. Projects for later. People doing projects. Interesting. Huh. What else do we got? Printers, 3D printer catalog. Of course, you got to sign in. Post by category, directory. Huh. Interesting. I'll have to look at that some more. See if that's a thing I want to do. Explore the community feed. So it's kind of like a social media for 3D printing creative type people. Cool. Okay. I'll check that out. I like that. Let's see. Where are we good? You can be depressed if you see my paints. You got to start somewhere. I did not know how to paint at all. I mean, for those of you who don't know, the short story about me is I joined the Army when I was 17 years old. I turned 18 in basic training, and before that, I had played Dungeons and Dragons because that came out in what, like 1978, a couple years after Star Wars came out or something like that. Came out in 78. I think it was 79 or 80 that I got into Dungeons and Dragons, so I played that for a while. Dysfunctional home life like everybody else, a whole big sad story. And then, so I joined the military at 17, actually before that with delayed entry program. And as soon as I got into the Army, boom, I was doing adult stuff. And so I did a career of that, retired at 38, not enough to retire. Ended up working, doing real estate, working for the state of Colorado, doing security, firearms work, concealed carry. I was a contract instructor for military police at Fort Carson with other instructors, blowing stuff up and shooting and moving and communicating. All of that was really fun. But that was more adult stuff. I hadn't, like I said, I had painted stuff back when I was a teenager, and it was kind of like, the truck is green, the airplane is gray, whatever it is, little D&D figures. We didn't really paint them. I don't remember painting them, to be honest with you. We just had the little figures and we would play D&D and that was it. It was more in the mind, more up in the gray area. And now you've got maps and buildings and things you can print and the whole 9 yards of stuff. We just had figures and a table and, the DM and stuff. So when I retired, I was like, I know I'm going to go to the gym, and we retired in Korea. And it's like, well, I need a hobby to do to keep my mind occupied and to keep me out of trouble because, idle hands are the devil's workshop, supposedly. So that's when I got interested into the Warhammer figures. And so I bought some of those. And of course, they're more expensive over here than in the United States, which makes it even worse. Got into resin printing, watched an overabundance of videos on how to paint Warhammer dudes. And then I was like really frustrated because of the small, 32 millimeters. It's really hard to paint those bastards. So I started making bigger figures and printing those on my resin printer, Saturn 3 Ultra printer. And then one thing led to another. Is the downfall of Europe and World War II and Hitler, who was a painter, just it all came about. And then I started printing bigger things, and then I got into 3D printing, and then now I'm doing bigger stuff. So yeah, okay. Anyway, So yeah, the tinkeratlas.com is social media for makers and tinkers without all the noise of other social media, plus tools. Yeah, I get tired of the other drama. And I honestly like the pages I belong to or the groups on Facebook. Generally, for the most part, on 3D printing and miniature painting, you don't get a lot of drama as compared to like fitness. Oh, good Lord. Fitness is just drama. And then, of course, the rest of social media is just crazy drama. So I really appreciate the hobby side because of the lack of drama. And even though you got grown-ass adults like me that are old, and they just love doing the creative stuff. So I thought that was pretty good. Yeah. Farithus says, bigger is always better, but also less forgiving. Yeah, that's why I like the grim dark. That's why I like the battle worn, because then you can you can hide all of your mistakes. But yeah. Oh, we got Sparky here. Yeah, Sparky, morning. Painting minis is hard. I used to paint 25 millimeter ones. And I've got some, yeah, I got to show some minis. So let me see. And we'll do a variety of minis because I'm that type of a mini guy. And some of the ones I'm really proud of. Let's take a look at some of those. And we'll do this, we'll do that. Oh, we got so much stuff. This is like show and tell. And show and tell is fun. Let me see what else can I do. Oh, the Ivor. We just did the Ivor. We did, oh man. This is gonna be good. Good. Oh, can't forget the Hulk. So we got the Hulk. And then I got the Pile of Shame. Oh, this is one of my favorites. And then I've got another. So we got a variety. We have a variety of things. So, like this is the little miniature. If we can end up seeing that. Focus. So it's kind of like focus, seriously. So yeah, it ends up, it's like, yeah, doing the little 3D miniature guys, it ends up that those are hard to do. So I started out doing stuff like that, and then I got, and see here, seriously, the focus on this is just not good, but you can kind of get an idea, and it ends up that we got some good ones. Oh, and this one turned out really good. So I did like a lava base on there and have them hovering. I really wish that would be cleared up, but I did stuff like that, and then started printing them bigger, and that one came out really good. So, yeah, I like this size. This size is good. And then there's this dude here. I wasn't really happy with the beard, but this guy's pretty bloody. But this turned out good. I liked this. These are all free models. They either got off of the Colts page or something like that. So, let me see. We got some comments here. Farithus says, it's interesting to me how many different hobbies the people in the maker community have. We all share making, but then there's these other hobbies in there. All these other hobbies. Yeah, it's just so much stuff. And Adventive says, what big hands you have. Okay. You know what they say when you have big hands? It's hard to find gloves. Yeah, so there's that. Steve the Paint Master. I don't know about that. Let's see. We also did the little dragon here, which did that guy. And you can see the underside. It ends up on the underside of the wings, and the top ended up really, really good. So again, oops. Dragon attacked the Warhammer dude. And then we got something like the Troll Cave. that we ended up doing. I did a lot of ink for the skin, and that came out kind of awesome. So yeah, really, really good. So there's that. The Hulk, which I did airbrush on this. So this is the one I like the most. Well, I don't know. There's a few others, but this is the one that I want to do a big Hulk, about 5 or 6 feet tall. And it's either going to be that or the Viking dude, but I'm leaning more towards the Hulk. So the Hulk I was really, really happy with. I like the Hulk. And then, oh, this one. This one was with speed paints. Look at that. About 99% of this is speed paints. And that turned out really, really good. I was really happy with that. So the details and everything, the rust and all that, that turned out really good. So yeah, speed paint is incredible. And you don't have to spend a lot of time doing speed painting. You can get some real good color quick, fast, and in a hurry on a model with speed paints, with the Army Painter Speed Paint 2.0. Just do your zenithal, boom, and you've got it. And it's just incredible what you ended up doing. This is probably one of my more favorite pieces here, is the Mando. And this was a resin print. As you can see, the base down there turned out really good. And this turned out great. I was super happy with this. So again, with the weathering and the detail on this, the Mando and Yoda, or whatever, it just turned out really good. And then the most recent one I finished was Ivor the Viking. And you can see I even got the eyes in there. And I did a video on this, so it turned out really good. And I've got a larger one. And again, with some speed paints, we were able to get, and some good zenithal on there, we were able to get some good shadow work that you can see, like on that there. And it just, that one just rocked. So I'm thinking about maybe doing this guy big too. So yeah, a lot of cool stuff. A lot of cool stuff. It just, I didn't think I'd be able to ever do stuff like this. So let's see what he goes. Move some stuff around here. Nedventum, nice job. You're an artist. I try. It's just copying what other people do. That's what it is. Sparky says, bigger mini is much easier to print, and also once the eyes get older. That is absolutely true. Because these little 35 millimeter guys, oh my gosh, that was frustrating. And when I started making bigger ones, it was like, I can relax. I'm not so stressed. Sparky says, yes, really good paint jobs. Hulk is cool. Yeah, the Hulk is really good. I love the Hulk. He turned out really well. You mastered the speed painting technique. Mad Mick 28 says, how is SK? South Korea's pretty good. We've been here just over 3 years, a total 15 years total with all the time that we spent here, but we've been retired here just over 3 years. It's pretty good. Able to retire early, and it gives me time to do stuff like this. So, loving it. Healthcare is good. Traffic isn't too bad. Driving, our expenses are about half of what we're paying in the United States, so it's a win-win. And the wife is Korean ancestry. Her family's here, so that works out. It's pretty good, pretty good. Maker Viking says, looks like me. I don't even have the long braided hair anymore. Oh, you mean this dude? And it's even got the blood on his face and the whole 9 yards. A little bit of washout there, but yeah, this is really, really good. The Ivor, and I tried looking for this again, and I can't find it online because I picked this up a long time ago. So I haven't been able to find it. Maybe I need to do stlfinder.com or something. So Maker Viking says, I'm not in quite that good a shape anymore. Life happens. Mad Mick says, my ex thinks I look like Ragnar. Yeah, kind of. That's your picture. I would definitely say that. Really cool. Mad Mick says, I had a job interview in South Korea. Oh, really? What kind of job did you end up getting? Or putting in for, or getting an interview for? Was it like military? Or a contracting job or something like that? Because they had a hiring freeze for the government for quite some time. So excuse me while I put some of these back in their place. But yeah, it ends up, they had a hiring freeze for the government for quite some time. And that kind of stalled a lot of stuff. And then I think it's starting to open back up again. So we'll see how that goes. So many miniatures. So I got a lot of stuff painted, but then I've got like 1, 2, 3, 4. I got like 5 shelves of stuff, of models that I printed out that I haven't painted. So my pile of shame is significant. DSK001. Hey, it's the dude with the pistol. I also have a shotgun from Borderlands. Yeah, I saw your thing there. Yeah, it was awesome. Working on to make a rifle design centered around the whole Wombo combo. Yeah, let me show you how that pistol turned out. So there it is. And again, you've got that. And what I ended up doing is putting a Picatinny rail. Of course, you had the one on the top, and I put it onto the side as well, because I thought that was a little bit naked. And I thought that added a little bit of a, just a little bit something more. But, and the color scheme on the bottom of this, I think I might repaint this part here. I'm not sure. But yeah, this is really cool. I like this. It was a good little print. I like it. So, looks out good. And it worked out well with some of the other stuff that we ended up printing for the Borderlands, like the Borderlands stuff. So yeah, thanks for making that. That was really cool. I like that. Dun 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 dun. Was a video interview. It was for facilities engineer. Really good interview. Oh, cool. Man, that would be nice. So it was a military contract, or was it for a Korean company? But yeah, I'm close to Camp Humphreys, which is near Pyeongtaek, South Korea, which is about an hour and a half, 2 hours south of Seoul. And yeah, largest U.S. military base, overseas base for the U.S. military in the world. So I kind of get the best of both worlds. Being a retired vet, I can go on post, go to the commissary, go to the PX, all of that stuff, and then be around soldiers. So we're kind of, I just feel at home with people in uniform, and so does my wife. And it's weird because we don't fit in the United States, but then when we're in Korea, we don't fit in Korea. It's kind of like we're in between, but when we're close to a military base, it makes us feel at home. So, yeah, DSK001 says, looks awesome. Well, you made the model, so thank you, sir. Appreciate that. That was really good. Skua says, you can never have enough Picatinny rails. Yeah, it was just screaming for Picatinny. That's when I saw that, yeah. Mad Mick says, yes, I'm working on a military base here in the U.S. It was for Pyeongtaek. Yeah, that would be my backyard. Mick says, I love USA, but I think it's time to travel and try something new. Yeah, we retired early, and retiring overseas was what allows me to do all this stuff, keeps me out of trouble. But really, I highly recommend anybody go travel. Even if it's just in the United States, even if it's in the same state that you live in, go travel, go do something, see something. If you can get overseas, go experience some new stuff. I mean, being in the military and, been overseas before in that aspect is really cool. But, we're looking at expanding our vacations and stuff like that. We've been to Thailand, we've been to Phuket, Bangkok. We just came back from Vietnam, a couple of places, Hanoi and Sapa, which was awesome. We're looking at going to the Philippines here in February, doing that. Of course, we want to go to China. We want to go to Japan. There's other countries that we want to go to. Want to go back to Thailand. Maybe if things work out there, it's kind of going downhill. But, it's just really good. And to be honest with you, I was getting tired of the United States, and I think retiring overseas was really good because not only is it a new experience, it broadens your perspective. It still makes me appreciate being a U.S. citizen, but I also see, like in Korea's got national health care. Everybody's covered. And the United States, the greatest country in the world, can't figure out how to do that. We had the Affordable Care Act, and that was just abysmal because it only gave health care to 25 or 40 million people. And I'm an independent, so I'm not getting into politics. I'm just saying if places like Korea can get health care for their entire country of 50 million people, I think we can copy and paste and do that in the United States. But I think we got some corrupt politicians on both sides. So we'll just leave it at that. Let's see. Sarwtin says, it's the holidays, travel every weekend for me, Germany for Christmas. Oh, yeah. He's that German dude. Of course, I got some German ancestry in myself. My last name isn't originally Wilson. No, it's Mach, M-A-C-H. So my dad's parents were German. Obviously, he was German. Married my mom. She wasn't German, so I've got a lot of German in me. So, yeah, it was pretty good. Mad Mick says, Vietnam and Thailand look amazing. Oh, yeah. It's been to Phi Phi Island in Thailand. Of course, that was way back in the day. And, oh, man, it was really, really, that's when you could still swim at Phi Phi Island. I guess they closed it down and you can only, because of the reefs and everything. When we were there, it was back when you could actually swim and snorkel and all that stuff there, and it was amazing. That was like the first vacation we ever had, real vacation. Let's see, Mad Mick says, dun dun, I've only been to Ireland. I love it. It also has its own political issues, though. That's what I'm saying. I've never been to Ireland. That wouldn't be a bad place to go. But every place that I've been has political issues. So there is no Valhalla. There is no perfect heaven on earth country. I think the closest we can get is the United States, but it still has a lot of problems, just like every other country has problems. But you just do the best with what you can and go visit places. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Sarwtin says, Mach, cool name, like the Mach number for the supersonic flight. Yes. Or the infamous Mach 1, the anime from Japan and the Speed Racer. Speed Racer, go, Speed Racer. Yeah. But yeah, my original last name was Mach. My dad's name was Robert Mach, and his parents, like I said, were German. And so there's a lot of German influence for me growing up. And then parents divorced, and I ended up marrying my wife who's Korean, and then our daughter is half and half. And then we would go to Oktoberfest we went to Oktoberfest at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and our daughter was really young. We had just got to the States, and, we go to this German fest. It was in this big, huge building, and rows of tables, people in lederhosen, and, decked out in all of the, German flags and all that kind of stuff. And of course, the bratwurst, and of course, you got to have the chicken dance. So people were looking at my wife kind of weird because she's obviously Korean, not German, but our daughter was so cute. And I obviously kind of look German-ish. And then the people that were sitting next to us, and older people, were kind of giving my wife the side eye, like, "Rrr." And then my wife poured the lady a beer, and then that was on like Donkey Kong. They loved us ever since then. So yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah. Something about alcohol, pouring for other people. You can just make friends instantly. Yep, Ferris Mock, cool name. Ferris says, all right, time for the gym. Enjoy your Friday. I'll be spending mine driving 10 hours to Ohio. Good seeing you. 10 hours? Drive careful. Be careful on that drive. Stay awake. Enjoy the gym. Don't push it too hard. Well, honestly, push it. Yeah, push it. Push it real good. If you got that reference, give yourself a thumbs up. So anyway, that's what we got going on. And I'm out of a latte. That is it. Oh God, the rum is gone. So with that, in case anybody's wondering, it's 7:20 a.m. in the morning here in Korea. And I'm retired, so I don't even know what day it is. What day is it? It is Friday, 5 December. You know you're retired when you don't know what day it is. So I've had enough of those that I am officially retired, because there's days where I have no clue what day it is, because every day is retirement day. Ferris says, more of a pull day today. Rock it. Rock that. Pull it. We won't go there. Enjoy your gym day, Mr. Ferris. It'll be good. It'll be good. But yeah, that's going to be it. So we finished printing up the massive Crimson Sword. And I think we did the dry fit. Everything seems to fit well. Printed on the Creality K2 Plus. And we will take this apart. We'll do individual painting on this. I'll go see if I can find some candy red spray paint. Hopefully I can find it locally. Otherwise I'm going to have to order it, and it'll take a little bit. That's the other thing about living in Korea. On the economy, it's hard to find some things. And yeah, this is going to be a real cool display piece. So yeah, that is cool print. And it's got some heft to it. Because like I said, I did 4 walls on that, and it ended up, 4 walls, 0.2 layer height, 4 wall loops, 5% infill density, and use adaptive cubics. So it is pretty good. It is pretty good. Definitely carry it around. It'll look good. But to that, I want to find a good Viking axe. And then, of course, I want to do the Borderlands axe for the cosplay for that, because I've got that, kind of like what we ended up showing there. And, of course, DSK-001, he had a little pistol that he had up there, so that was kind of cool. So I'm going to continue working towards that. I also got some orange cargo pants that I'm hoping to do some cell shading painting on. And then I got to find some boots, and then some other stuff so I can do some cosplay with that. And eventually, maybe one of these days, I'll get out into Korea as the Ripper dude with the thing and the rifle. I think that'd be kind of cool. There's some other things that I want to end up, kind of like a backpack or something. I don't know. There's some other things that I want to do. But yeah, there's always stuff to print. I went from not knowing what I'd be printing to just printing a bunch of crazy stuff. So yeah, Viking axe, yes, definitely. I love the Viking stuff. Same here. It is some good stuff. That Ivor, that is between the Hulk and that Ivor model that I showed you. One of those two is going to get printed big. And I'm talking like 5 foot tall, maybe 6 foot tall big. But it's not that it's going to take a long time to print. But my issue is how to paint those things. So I'm going to try to make a paint booth in a little spare room that I end up having with some plastic and stuff like that. That is going to be interesting. And then, also, I'm going to be purchasing, for those of you who do 3D printing and you want to do large stuff, where is it? No, it's not there. Is it there? Yep, there it is. I've talked about this before on Splitter. And if you do large prints, you have a program called Luban, and Luban will take big prints and it will cut them up according to however big the build area is on your printer. So it'll break apart the big, huge model. Like if you're doing a 6-foot Hulk, it'll cut it into pieces that will fit your printer as long as you put the X, Y, and Z dimensions on there for your build area. It's like $25 a month or $125 a year. Those are subscription fees. Or you can buy a permanent license for $625 for Luban. And it does a bunch of other stuff. So there's that. I'm not interested in the other stuff. But that's a lot of money. And I want to buy a permanent license because I'm old. And that's how you buy something, it's yours. I hate subscription fees. But then I ran across, as I was doing some searching, I found the splitter program. And this, I'm going to be purchasing this today. And here it is. Here's Splitter. Automatically splits your 3D files. And it is really good. And the user interface is kind of like updated. It's not like Luban, which is like 1970s or 1980s. This is actually, if you take a look at that, I know it's kind of out of focus. But you get your file, you can do all this stuff, and it will break apart. It'll show the sections based on the printer area, the build area of your printer, and then boom, it separates them, and then you could export those STLs and you could print them on your printer. So it's $60 or 60 euros for the basic, which is about $70. It's got some add-ins, which is another 35, but if you get the full thing, it's like 95 euros, which is like 110 bucks. Lifetime license, look at that. Lifetime license, add-on, lifetime license, full thing, lifetime license, 110 bucks. So I am going to be picking that up now. Now it works on Windows, but with that, I also got a message from them because I was asking some questions. Splitter said that they're going to be having a Linux and a Mac version as well. And they just finished their Kickstarter. So the beta is for sale now and people are using it. But yeah, it is pretty cool. It is pretty cool. And again, the user interface is a lot better. November 9th, they actually started selling it direct online. So yeah, just good stuff. Looks really good. I mean, being able to go through, and they're going to be adding more stuff. So there we go. There's a good picture of it. So you end up, you have file, project, prepare, split, and of course you got the associated icons with that as well. So it has profiles. If you see over here, you can select a 3D printer for filament or resin, which is nice. It has profiles for different companies and their printers, or you can just go ahead and set the size for X, Y, and Z for your build area. Like K2 Plus is 350 cube. Let's say I want to back that off about, maybe 340 just to be safe. You can set that and then boom, you can go through and it will label everything. It has different types of joining, which is kind of cool, or you can make your custom ones. And yeah, you prepare it, you pre-split it, you split it, and boom, you can end up, just doing some big prints. And it has a new hollowing feature or a shell feature. That's actually what this is here. You can kind of see here how that's kind of shelled out. It's not a full piece. So it will hollow it out to some degree so you don't have to use as much filament, which could save you a bunch of money. Especially on a big print or something that's 5-6 feet tall, that could probably save you maybe 1 or 2 kilos of filament. Imports it into your slicer, whatever slicer you have because it's an STL. And yeah, look at that. Parameters, prepare, pre-split, split, explode or standard view, help menu. The UI on this looks way better than Luban. Talking about Luban. Yeah, I've used Luban and it ends up, it's just like, again, for Luban, I know I'm kind of going off topic on this. I mean, Luban's good, and it's got a lot of different things that you can do with it. You know, lithophanes and stuff like that. But that's not really what I would use it for. I don't think I'd use any of this other stuff on Luban. So there's no value to that stuff. You know, it'd be like once or twice. But yeah, you look at the price of this, and where is it? There it is. So 1 month, it's $25 subscription. 1 year is $125. Permanent is $625. So that is crazy priced. And again, like I said, the UI for Luban it's whoa. It's like the 1970s. Let me pull up Luban. I'll show you what I mean. Here. Boom. That's Luban right there. Seriously? This is open, save, control, data receive, show, hide access, enable, disable lighting. Let's try to open something up and we'll see. Let's go to Creality save files. Oh, or no. Or what do I want to do? And you'll see this. It's just like, seriously, the UI on this is just like rough. Let's throw Ivor in there. We'll see what happens. List Ivor 1. I think that might be the whole guy. We'll see what happens. Yeah. So there he is. But here, it's not real intuitive. 3D shape, eyeglass, photo magic, import, export, batch, load, export, no. Is it mesh? No. Lighting, edge, surface, transparency, no. Seriously? And I've used this and it's just not. Hollow, repair, depth. I mean, seriously, really? How? I did this before on the other video too. And it's just like, seriously, I mean, it's cool, but how the hell? So this would be, again, it's just not, it's not intuitive. The Luban is just, it seems like a pain in the butt. And every time I had to use it, I had to go back to YouTube and watch, figure it out how to do it, watch somebody do it, and then I would do it because I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer by far, but it's just not real intuitive. And so the splitter looks really good. It's less expensive. And my thinking is get the lifetime license, and whatever new stuff that they come out, there's a high probability I will be grandfathered in to those new features. So let's say, right now it's just splitting large models into smaller pieces and, connectors and labels so that you can put small pieces into one big, huge model. So they got that. But think about some other stuff. If they add other features on there, kind of like what Luban does, you might be grandfathered in for the low price of $110. And it's a lifetime license. So, yeah, it just seems really good. Let's see. Netventive says, after getting into 3D printing, cosplay is not far off. I feel the calling. I know. My wife thinks I'm crazy. She's like, she's like, so you're going to build this helmet and this rifle, and then what are you going to do with it? And I'm like, oh, I don't know, maybe dress up and go to a cosplay thing. And she's like, you're 59. And I'm like, so I don't care anymore. I'm old. I don't give a flying F. That's what it comes down to. I just want to have fun, and I think this would be cool. And since I'm here in Korea, I'm a foreigner anyway, so people look at me anyway. So yeah, it is. Maker Viking says, yeah, it looks much better. So we're gonna try it out. And for $110, I figure as long as it splits the models, and I'm looking at more videos on people and how they use it and stuff. I don't like the videos because it's not really in depth of how to use the program. So I think if I do get it, that's what I'm going to do, is record some videos on how to use that. But it definitely looks a lot easier than Luban. Yeah, it looks much better, much better. Mad Mick says, you probably do numbers on Etsy or eBay. Yeah, there's that. But I don't know. That's a possibility. But being in South Korea, again, there's kind of that hoop or obstacle that I got to kind of fight through sometimes, because there's stuff that people can get access to in the United States from Walmart, Home Depot, Amazon, things like that, that I cannot get delivered here. So I have to try to find things like that. And it's easier in the States than it is here in Korea. I'll tell you that, especially when it comes to stuff like this. So yeah, that's just the way it is. So anyway, I am starting to get hangry. So when I get hangry, it's not good. It can ruin my entire day. And the last thing I had to eat was like 6 o'clock yesterday. So I'm really, really hungry. It's 7:30 right now. So we're going to cut this short. So I want to thank the people like Maker Viking for giving me that heads up on tinkeratlas.com. I'll be checking that out some more, Tinker Atlas, and see if I join the community. We'll see how that goes. People like Mad Mick, yeah. Talking about the shipping. Yeah, I didn't think about shipping. Amazon's not bad, because if it's over $50, you can get free shipping, but there are limitations on what Amazon will ship to a Korean address. So there's that. And if it's over $150, then I'm going to be paying a little bit extra for some VAT or import fees or taxes or whatever. So yeah, pay a little bit. I save a lot by being retired over here compared to the States, but I pay a little bit more for stuff like that. Leo2 pops in and says, hello from Denmark. Love your view. Old Geezer 2. Like these nice streams. Well, thank you. Thanks for joining, popping up and saying hello. Appreciate that. From Denmark. Good. Maker Viking says, looking forward to seeing you there. That's in regard to the tinkeratlas.com website. So we're going to check out that community. So we'll see how that goes. So we're going to do that. But right now, I think we're going to end the stream. Again, what we ended up doing is printed out the sword. Again, those. Printed out a real cool sword. I mean, that's kind of a big baby. We're going to take this back apart and we'll print it out or paint it up and do all that stuff, and then that will be cool. We talked about the Borderlands. We had the guy DSK001 who did a Borderlands pistol. He showed up on here, so that was cool. And then, of course, everybody else, like Mad Mick and Ferrithus and Nedventive. We had some other people that you haven't said anything. You need to pop up into the conversation. Skua. Let's see, who else do we got popped in here? Sparky was here. Ferrithus was here. So yeah, we had a pretty good conversation going on. Some of you people that are just kind of lurking into the background, you can comment. Join. Please join. It is really good. I really enjoy these live streams and being able to talk and share information and stuff like that. It's really, really good. Even though I'm retired here in Korea, it's just cool what you can do with streaming, and y'all turn me on to some really cool stuff. So I appreciate that as well. So feel free, even if it's just to say hi. Let's see. Nedventive says, has a good Friday. Maker Viking says, good stream. Mad Mick says, enjoy yourself there in South Korea. Leo 2 says, nice sword. Love to see it painted up. Alex, yes, we will do that. And we'll do another one once I finish up the painting to get the final results. We'll kind of go for the black and the red. If I can find some good candy apple, deep, rich red spray paint here in Korea, that'll be a challenge. Yeah, always some challenges, but so worth it. And with that, I think we're going to close this all up. So the best thing you all can do, if you haven't, is like and subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate that. That would really help. And in the obligatory closing screen that we have here, boom, bunch of people over here, not over here because there's nobody over there. These people here bought me coffee. You can do that. If not, I don't really care. I make my own coffee. If you want to do that, that's cool. But like I said, the best thing that you could do is like and subscribe to the channel. That's really what I'm going for. Yeah, there's one right there. So I appreciate that. If you want to contact me, there's my email address. If you just want to say hi, show me what you're building, painting, propping, laser engraving. I had a guy send me a picture of ribs that he was smoking, which now I'm really hungry. But yeah, those look some really good ribs that dude was cooking. And prints that people do, painting, whatever it is. I've had people send me, hey, here's my motorcycle, here's my cat, my dog, or whatever. It's really cool to just see what other people are doing, minus all the stupid drama. So congratulations for participating and not being stupid. I love being around cool people, and you all are cool people, and I appreciate that. So with that, I think we're going to call it good because we had a good stream and a lot of good people. You got to have a good stream when you have good people. So anyway, Maker Viking says, just made some burgers myself. You're making me hungry, more hungry than what I already am. Shame on you, shame on you. So yeah, we're going to cut this and let it go. Again, email, I answer usually within 1 or 2 days, depending on my schedule, but I always answer. And I appreciate everybody here. So with that, we'll see you on the next video. Peace. Good stuff. Good stuff. Love it. Love it.